This young man here,
I'm not young.
he asked a very simple question. How many versions of the Bible? We don't even know who's Mark and who's Luke and who's Matthew. Anyway, you see the difference in Islam. We observe and protected the teaching of Christ. All the teaching of Christ. If you wanted to know who's Isa, who's Christ, go to the Quran. His birth, his miracle, the way he lived his life, and what was revealed on him, the Injil. Every single Muslim cannot be a Muslim if he doesn't believe that Jesus is a prophet and he had a book was revealed, that book on him, that book was Injil. Is there any Muslims here doesn't believe that Jesus, Allah had revealed a book called Al-Injil on Jesus? No one. So we are the followers of Moses, we are the followers of Christians, Isa. We are, so basically, so if I'm not gonna go, who's gonna go to hell or not? We were talking about the creation before.
Yeah, we were, I know, before.
Now, science came to understand that the world had a beginning. But the question of who created the world, when we say God, and all the questions, we hear that thousands of years back, who is the creator of God? So this is a question in everybody's mind. If we say God has a creator, then we're not gonna end. The creator created the creator. It has to be a start. How would we know our start? We know our start, or we know ourselves when we're gonna leave this world. If you say to me, I came to this life for a foolish reason, to study, to find a good job, to get married, and to die. And I'm gonna leave, what is it I'm gonna leave behind? Family, wife, children. There is no disagreement whatsoever that we're gonna leave this world. I think there is a concrete platform we can stand on, all of us, and we cannot disagree on it, that we're going to leave this world. So why did we come to this world? Even Stephen Hawking was asking this question. Why are we here in this life? He came to halfway through, but he didn't finish his way and he died. As a disabled person, God took his body, but protected his brain. And the brain he had used, it was gifted from God. A lot of people didn't have that brain. But because of that brain, he did not find his way to his creator. He understands the world. He spent years and years trying to understand the universe, look at the stars at night, try to find what is this world and how this world started. But he died. A lot of people had followed him because they think there is nothing except that everything. But there is a question he's always asked. The world is so... Everything in the world is in order. It cannot happen by chance. It came to start and it would have an end. We came to start, one day came to this life and we're going to have an end. Carry on.
So just to return to your question, coming back to you, Jermaine, what was your name? Ade and Jermaine. So you asked about the scientific method, and when I said it's limited in scope, Jermaine asked about an example, I said altruism. Take another example of morality and ethics. Science cannot really determine and say this is it, because everyone will have a different morality depending on what they understand what morality is, basis of morality is. Because some people think morality is subjective and it will change from time and places. Others think there's an objective morality. If there is an objective morality, then it rests with nothing subjective. It has to be based on the Creator. So yes, we understand science has its limitation, but that doesn't mean you throw the science away. And because of the science, we are using all these things that we are now using at the time, like the cameras, for example, your clothes, your shoes. It's product of scientific tools and development. If you are trying to find out the link between Jermaine and Ade about the origin of this universe or existence of a creator, this question needs to be dealt with in a separate way. It needs to be dealt on its independent merit, not just saying, okay, that religion is false, that means God is true. Like you were saying, okay, does it mean because of this God exists? Not necessarily. God or the Creator's existence is independent of whether this religion is true or not. Okay? There are so many different religious systems and ideologies and thoughts which are clearly contradicting each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how does that establish whether God exists because of this? So one thing Brother AbdurRazzaq was highlighting is the fact that we are here as creation, and if we are here, there has to be a creator. Now that process can be understood in a very cogent way, in a very rational way, because if something exists now, as we are something, could there be a time in the past? And time in a very crude sense, because what is time itself is debatable and questionable. Do you follow the A string theory of time or B string theory of time? Lots of different questions. Even if you use this time in a crude sense, past, present, and future, if you are something in a distance past, whatever that past is, can there be absolute nothingness? There was absolutely nothing.
This is the thing though, how do you define nothing?
Yeah. If you define nothing as the absence of everything.
Where can you find an example of this in the universe?
No. This is a contrast. You can't find an example because you cannot find such a thing as absolute nothingness.
This is the thing. How do we know that nothing exists before the universe when we can't observe it?
It's a contrast. For example, when you say something is good, you understand what is bad in contrast. Yeah? When you say something is dark, in opposite to that, something is not dark, which is maybe bright, and so on. Contrast. Something loving and not loving. So if there is something, the opposite of that thing would be...
These contrasts that you're mentioning, by the way, these are human
Yeah, but we can understand that rationally. That if there is something there, the opposite of that would be there is absolutely nothing. The question is, can this absolute nothing exist? Is it real?
We don't know.
We would say, no, it cannot exist. Because if it existed, if nothingness existed, then it cannot produce anything. It cannot produce something. How would it produce something if it didn't exist itself?
But this is the thing though, I don't know what nothing is, so I can't give you an
Okay,
answer.
nothing, just to clarify this point, I can carry on. Nothing is the absence of anything. That means something that we are talking about now, matter, energy.
That's all something.
Okay, something, right? Nothingness would be absence of matter and absence of energy.
But we don't. This doesn't exist anywhere. So
No.
we can't
In
really say-
contrast, this is the understanding that we're giving in contrast.
Yeah, I understand.
Such a thing cannot brought about energy or matter because it doesn't even possess them. If it did, I'm saying nothing cannot exist as we are defining. So there has to be always something.
Yeah, okay.
That always something is either your universe or the universe that brought this universe, if you believe in multiverse theories, and it doesn't stop there. What brought that universe? Ultimately, there has to be, as Brother AbdurRazzaq points to, there has to be something that has no beginning, no prior to. We call the first cause. That makes sense.
Let's say this. The first point is that we live in a world. It's a reality that is standing over here. And the second point that we know that we're going to leave this world. Our period of time in this world is very, very short compared to the age of the whole universe. The universe is millions of years old. Now the Quran says, when we die, those who died 1,000 years ago, those who died 2,000 years ago, the day that you will be raised from the grave, you would be asked a simple question. How long have you remained in the grave? None of them would say, I have remained in the grave for 1 million years. When the world comes to an end, when we wake up, this period of time, which is millions of years, for my understanding and your understanding, when I woke up, it would be like an hour or less than an hour. Now, the meaning of time in the sight of God is not like the understanding of time in our sight. Our age is not like the age of the universe. The time, God doesn't have a time, doesn't have a place, space, in a way that He created that time. So we should understand what we are in. We are in a world. Something we cannot comprehend, we cannot understand. Like anything else in life, there is limitation for our abilities to lift things from the ground. We are limited as human beings. But when we can comprehend and come to the best understanding and our limit of understanding, when we understand that there is nothing in this life, if we wanted to disapprove it, we cannot just deny it. If we want to disapprove something, we should bring a proof for it. As we prove things, we have to disapprove it. We cannot say, oh, if there is life after death, when I die I'll find out. Oh, there is no God. Oh, this is all rubbish, all evil. No, we have. People search for the truth. Our responsibility in this life, the most important thing in this life, not to search for a job, but to find yourself who you are. What are you here for in this life? Did you come to a chant the Quran say, أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون? Do you think we have created you for no reason, for foolish reason, and you're not gonna return to us after death? So the most important thing. Now the Quran talks about the start of a human being and how God is gonna repeat it. When you create something, let's try to invent something now, an idea, you bring it to existence. Then you lose that wherever you made. You cannot bring it back because you have the idea. God says in the Quran that to repeat the creation, it's much easier, according to our understanding, much easier than even to create it at first. Because he made things from nothing, he can repeat it. When the Quran talks to us as a human being with the level of our understanding, with what we can comprehend. People wanted, the Jews said to Moses, we wanted to see God. The Jews said to Moses, we wanted to see God. Every single thing in this life had a sign to prove the existence of God. You need to see his signs, you don't need to see him. But you will see him in the hereafter. You just need to think more. As long as you use your intellect and search, you'll find the truth. To find your ways in this life, you have to be sincere and you have to find the right ways to serve. Listen to people. When we came 20 years ago to the park, I said to brothers here, we don't want to argue with anyone. Just like anyone who had offering his trade to people, you know. You go to Christianity, if you want to have a discussion about Christianity, we'll have a peaceful discussion, a discussion which is all with evidence, with a nice dialogue, but not with arguments. We don't, because in the end of the day, let's ask any Christian here or any Muslim, what I'm gonna benefit from coming to this park when I wanted to bring people to Islam? Is it I wanted more Muslims in this world? No. The benefit not gonna come to me, but the benefit will come to the person who's being guided. Let's say to any Christian, we should have the same principle. We don't want, if we truly believe in paradise and hellfire, if we truly believe that if a person doesn't believe in God, he will go to hellfire, then we should do the work for it. Like a doctor or a nurse in hospital try to save a patient who is on the bed of death. We wanted to save people. We're not giving anything for this life. We are having a message for the hereafter. And it is our responsibility. If there is something you know and good you have, then you wanted to deliver to the others. Why you keep it for yourself? We believe that we have the message. We believe that we have the truth. We wanted to deliver to others.
But let me make a point though. This is similar to Pascal's wager. You're basically here because you want as many people as you can to go to the afterlife and be saved. Yeah. This is why you believe you're doing good work.
If I see somebody's burning now,
but wait. Look at it this way though. Look at it this way. In another instance, I'm not saying this is true, but in another instance, if Islam is wrong, Christianity is right, you're actually condemning all these people to hell. Do you see what I mean? See what I mean? Or if Sikhism is right, or if Buddhism is correct, if all the other, you know what I mean? If those religions are right, then none of these people are going to hell. You know what I mean?
It's not me who says who's going to hell. It's God what he says.
God is not. Wait, the Quran is clear. The Quran is clear. Right. If you don't believe in me.
Yes. What about when a doctor says to a patient, if you don't take your medicine, you're gonna die? Why people would listen to the doctor? Because they are so keen to live longer in this life. Why when it comes to everlasting life, ultimate life, living forever and ever. Why people don't take account on that and listen to it? It's a very simple.
But wait,
True or not?
do you think it's a good reason for someone to believe in a religion out of fear of going to hell?
Okay, okay. Out of fear.
I do not believe in that at all. That is all.
Okay. Now you raised a very good point. There is something in Islam called fear and love and hope. Love before anything else. When we recite the Quran, when we do our prayer, he said the most merciful, the most kind, the honor of the day of resurrection. The day of resurrection, the mercy comes before. The kindness comes before. God don't like, he doesn't like, what God says in the Quran, what would benefit him to put people in hellfire? Nothing. It's not like someone who's a lunatic who wanted people to suffer and, enjoying killing people.
But hell still exists, so why does hell exist?
But this is the message. We have to deliver the message. We cannot change it. It is not me. When I believe in, listen, let us give you an example. Let's say I believe that the Christian will go to hellfire. The Christian believe that the Muslim will go to hellfire.
Exactly.
If my book says that, this is a belief. But my book didn't say to me, send this man to hellfire. My book didn't say to me, kill this man so he can go to hellfire. My book said to me, deliver the message to this man that if he doesn't follow, he will go to hellfire. And my book said to me, وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever wanted to be guided, he will be guided. Whoever been guided, he will be guided for his own salvation. وَمَنْ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ. The Quran had showed to me this. The Quran gave you the free will. The Quran says, if you wanted to believe or you disbelieve. The Quran didn't say, if you don't, God Almighty, but there's a day of resurrection. Do whatever you want. But there is a day of resurrection in reality. Well, how would you feel? Let us give an example. How would you feel if the day of resurrection starts, then you stand up and you remember me and my brother Mansur talking to you in this park, and then you'll find yourself in another place. How much would you regret? The Quran said, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ, the day of resurrection. يوم تجد كل نفس ما عملت من خير محضرا وما عملت من سوء. When every soul will find out what that soul has ears from good things or bad things. The Quran talks about the third of the Quran talks about the hereafter, the day of resurrection, the description of hellfire and paradise. Why? The Quran doesn't say enjoy yourself, that this is your life, there is nothing else. Even Stephen Hawking, with the most brilliant physician these days, he did not come to understand, or he's still confused about there is something else, there's another world, there's another, because the world will end. Why can't we serve? We have a book, and we believe this book from the Creator. It wasn't written by a man. We believe that the perfection in this book, and the book was revealed on us. God Almighty didn't create us and left us wandering. He gave us intellect. He gave us everything the Quran talks about. God Almighty, the one who brought you forward. Nobody ever claimed, even your mom and dad never claimed that they created you. The only means, they didn't even know how you're going to look like when your mom delivered.
But let me say something though. Okay. For me, this is one of the biggest problems I have with Christianity and Islam. Judaism doesn't actually have a hell, do they? They don't have hell.
They have now.
Or heaven. Yeah. Some people say yes, some say no.
Because they try to hide it, and they thought it's better not to speak about hellfire so they can bring people more to the Judaism. But after that,
let's leave Stephen Hawking.
What is the main problem here?
Yeah.